A CNN journalist is claiming to be objective and nonpartisan while slamming conservative news outlets. One America's Hans Hubbard has more.
CNN's chief media correspondent, Brian Stelter, claims to be an unbiased, unpartisan source, but the content he produces suggests otherwise. Last week, he hosted a segment criticizing One America for what he claims is a lack of commitment to truthful reporting.
So OAN wants to have it both ways, a friendly relationship with President Trump and the veil of objectivity.
Perhaps so, but if reporting the news without showing hostility to the president is wanting it both ways, could the same not be said of the inverse? Stelter has certainly claimed a lack of bias. In 2018, he asserted he did not belong to either side of the American political landscape.
I'm not on a side of an aisle. That's an offensive
tell America,
remark.
did you vote for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? How did your wife vote?
I did not vote
tell
for
America.
president. I left that spot blank on the ballot that day.
And in a 2016 interview with the Center for Strategic and International Studies, Stelter warned of the dangers of confirmation bias, urging readers to be carefully skeptical of stories propping up one's own political views.
When you read a story that supports your beliefs, you're going to want to share it. You're going to want to believe it. But that's actually when you should be the most skeptical if you don't know the source, if you don't know the outlet or the writer.
Yet Stelter seemingly falls into this very trap. Indeed, in that same interview, he seems to conflate credibility with holding a left-wing perspective, propping up sources with such a view as the only reliable, trustworthy ones.
Before you share it, triple check it. And that can mean going to CBS, going to CNN, finding out if we're reporting it. It can mean looking on credible fact-checking sites like Snopes to see if it's true.
Stelter's own content, rife with condemnations of President Trump and conservative news sources, belies his claims to impartiality.
But there is a dividing line, and I want us to keep it in mind in this entire program today. I think it's between the people who are trying to be constructive and careful, caring about truth, accountable to an editor or a boss or someone, versus people who are unaccountable, destructive, caring only about winning the information war. Constructive versus destructive. That is the dividing line. That brings me, of course, to President Trump.
In a 2018 interview with the Washington Post's executive editor, Marty Baron, Stelter suggested the Trump presidency was, quote, a national emergency. And in August 2019, he stood silent as a guest on a show declared President Trump was responsible for more deaths than the 20th century's most brutal dictators.
Trump is as destructive a person in this century as Hitler, Stalin, and Mao were in the last century. He may be responsible for many more million deaths than they were.
Stelter later apologized for not stepping in and refuting the claim, while attributing his silence to technical difficulties. Bernard Goldberg, a 14-time Emmy Award-winning journalist who worked for CBS for 28 years and Fox News for 10, says Stelter's many warnings against bias obstructing objective reporting ring true. Yet Stelter's primary fault, Goldberg says, is he fails to apply these very standards to his own reporting, turning him into what Goldberg calls, quote, a hopelessly biased newsman, a media critic who doesn't recognize his own media shortcomings. In trying to have it both ways, propping himself up as an objective journalist while simultaneously blasting conservatives, Stelter has perhaps failed to follow his own advice.
But the downside, of course, is that we can be stuck in our own holes. We can be stuck in our own echo chambers. We can be stuck only hearing the people who agree with us. And again, I think that's about an individual responsibility on the part of the users to pop your own bubbles, to pop your own filter bubbles.
Hans Hubbard, One America News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.